My name is Reid. I am 61 years old. I have worked since I was 17, buried a wife I loved more than life itself, raised a son with every ounce of strength I had, and believed, foolishly, that sacrifice was the purest form of love. I learned that day how wrong I was. The dinner that changed everything. It was supposed to be a celebration. Claire was 7 months pregnant, glowing in that careful way women glow when they know they're being watched. The house smelled like roasted chicken and cinnamon candles. Daniel poured wine. I brought a gift basket, tiny socks, baby lotion, a stuffed elephant. I remember touching Claire's belly gently. "I can't wait to meet him," I said. Her smile was polite, controlled. Halfway through dessert, Daniel's fork clinked against his plate. He didn't look at me. Claire leaned forward, fingers intertwined over her stomach. "Reid," she began smoothly, "we've been discussing the baby's future." "That's wonderful," I said warmly. "Have you picked a name?" "That's not what we mean," she replied. Her tone shifted. "Daniel told me you have a solid retirement account, savings, investments. Since Mom passed, you've been careful." I nodded slowly. "Yes." She didn't blink. "We think it's only fair you give your savings to us, for the baby." The words hung in the air like smoke. I laughed softly at first. It felt absurd. But no one else laughed. "Claire," I said carefully, "that's my retirement." "And this is your grandson," she shot back. "Don't you want the best for him?" "Of course I do." "Then prove it. Give your savings for my baby." There it was, clean, sharp, demanding. I turned to Daniel. "Son." He exhaled like he'd rehearsed this. "Dad, you're alone. You don't need that much. We're starting a family. It makes sense." Alone? That word cut deeper than the demand for money. I had given Daniel everything. I worked overtime so he could attend private school. I drained savings for his college tuition. I paid for his wedding when Claire's family had unexpected expenses. And now I was alone and therefore expendable. Claire leaned back. "You've done your part as a father. Now do your part as a grandfather." Responsibility. Obligation. Transaction. That's what I had become. The rest of the dinner passed in silence, so thick it felt like drowning. The night I faced the truth. At home, I sat in the dark. Susan's photograph rested on the mantel. She had been my compass, my calm. 8 years without her still felt unreal. I remembered a night long ago when Daniel, at 16, had demanded a car we couldn't afford. "He'll resent us," I had said. Susan shook her head gently. "He'll resent us more if we teach him that love means surrender." I had forgotten that lesson. Somewhere along the way, I confused love with self-erasure. That night, I made a decision that terrified me. The next morning, I emptied my accounts. Every dollar. 40 years of work. But I didn't transfer it to Daniel. I bought a one-way ticket to Lisbon, Portugal, the trip Susan and I always postponed because something more important needed our money. For once, I chose the dream. Leaving without permission. I left Daniel a letter. "Son, I love you, but I am not a vault to be opened when convenient. I worked my entire life for those savings. I will not exchange my dignity for approval. When you are ready to see me as your father, not your funding source, I will be here. Love, Dad." At the airport, my hands trembled. I had never done something purely for myself. When the plane lifted into the sky, I felt grief, but also freedom. Learning to live at 61. Lisbon was sunlight on old stone. Blue and white tiles shimmered on buildings. The ocean air carried salt and possibility. Street musicians played guitars in narrow alleys. Elderly couples walked hand in hand as if time had no authority over them. I rented a small apartment with a balcony overlooking a cobblestone street. The first morning, I sat at a cafe with strong coffee and a warm pastry and realized something startling. No one here expected anything from me. I was not Dad, I was not Grandpa-to-be, I was not a bank account. I was Reid, 61 years old. Alive. I took Portuguese lessons. I joined a walking group. I volunteered fixing wiring at a community center. People thanked me, not because they were entitled to me, but because they appreciated me. The difference was everything. The call. 2 weeks later, Daniel called. Dad, where are you? Portugal. You emptied your account. Yes. You can't just disappear. I didn't disappear, I stepped back. Claire's voice echoed behind him. Ask him when he's sending the transfer. I closed my eyes. Daniel, when did I become nothing more than money to you? Silent. He didn't answer. He hung up. And for the first time, I didn't chase him. Peace and perspective. Months passed. I met a widow named Maria near the waterfront. She had gentle eyes and a laugh that felt like healing. Why are you here? She asked one evening. I left something heavy behind, I said. She nodded. At our age, we carry only what gives us peace. Her words stayed with me. I realized I wasn't running from my son. I was running toward myself. The birth. 3 months later, my phone rang again. The baby was born, Daniel said quietly. My heart squeezed. Is he healthy? Yes, his name is Samuel. Samuel? My grandson. There was a long pause. Dad, I'm sorry. Not defensive, not demanding. Just sorry. I shouldn't have asked for your savings. I shouldn't have let Claire speak to you that way. My eyes filled as I stared at the Atlantic waves, crashing against stone. I don't need your money, he said. I need my father. That was the first time I heard my son, not as a grown man calculating security, but as the boy who once waited by the window for my headlights. Meeting Samuel. I flew back temporarily. Claire looked exhausted, humbled by motherhood. Her sharpness had softened into vulnerability. When she placed Samuel in my arms, time stopped. He wrapped his tiny fingers around mine with surprising strength. And in that moment, I understood something profound. Love given freely is powerful. Love demanded loses its beauty. I did not hand over my savings. Instead, I created a structured education trust for Samuel, untouchable until he becomes an adult. A gift of support, not surrender. Daniel didn't argue. Claire didn't either. For the first time, they treated me not as a wallet, but as family. A new balance. Today, I divide my time between Lisbon and home. Daniel calls weekly. We speak honestly now, not perfectly, but honestly. Claire thanks me when I visit. Samuel knows me as the grandfather who reads stories, not the grandfather who writes checks. At 61 years old, I discovered something many people never do. You can love deeply without abandoning yourself. You can support your family without financing their entitlement. You can forgive without forgetting your worth. What I learned. I once believed sacrifice proved love. Now I know boundaries protect it. If I had handed over my savings that night, resentment would have poisoned everything. Instead, stepping away forced respect to grow. And respect is the soil where healthy love survives. I emptied my account, but I filled my life. And that was the greatest investment I ever made. Moral of the story. Love your children, support your family, give generously when your heart chooses to give. But never allow anyone, even those you love, to reduce you to a resource. Because when you protect your dignity, you teach others how to value you. And at any age, even at 61, it is never too late to choose yourself.